For the reading project, I chose the book The Scorch Trials by James Dashner, and here's my intro page. So, Thomas is the main character, and he's the protagonist of the story. He has very strong leadership qualities and is always caring for his friends. Brenda is a new person introduced, and she is strong and has good survival instinct. Minnow is a skilled runner and fighter in the group. He's very brave, but also takes big risks for the Gladers' lives. Newt is a friend of Thomas's that is very good with guiding the Gladers. Teresa is a close friend / lover of Thomas's, and she is a very intelligent person. She plays a very important role in the group's survival. So there we go for the characters. There's my whole page there. So side characters. Eris is also a new character in the story that belongs to another group that is an ally to Thomas. So he's a part of another Glade. George is a leader of another group known as the Cranks. He is very tough and serious. And Frypan is the cook and member of the Gladers. He's very humorous. So the setting. The Scorch Trials is a book that takes place sometime in the future where technology is super advanced and tricky to recognize. Here's an example right here. This is like a helicopter they have. The characters are faced off with more difficult variables, aka challenges, and left off in a scorched desert with underground tunnels and abandoned buildings to fight for their lives and freedom. So the plot's pretty long here. Okay. After being saved by Wicked, they were brought to a dorm where they were left off in a seemingly safe area. This is where the Gladers learn that they are part of another experiment to find the cure for the flare. The Gladers are brought to a dry, hot desert known as the Scorch, a dangerous place filled with broken buildings and infected people, which are called Cranks. So here's an example image I found from the movie. Yeah, it's something. Their mission is to travel across the Scorch, dealing with extreme weather and obstacles. Along their journey, they meet other survivors like a girl named Brenda and a new character called Eris, which become good allies with Thomas. As they get farther into the Scorch, they learn about Wicked's true intentions, and the Gladers fight for their lives to seek the further truth and survive. Yeah. And there's them. Another image from the movie. I just love them. Okay, so here's my conflict. One major type of conflict in the book, The Scorch Trials by James Dashner, is character versus society. This is because the Gladers are faced with and targeted by a large organization called Wicked that have bad intentions with them. They slowly resolve this more near the end, where they uncover truths about Wicked and attempt to resist from their organization. So here's a full slide here. There's a picture from the movie that is one of Wicked's workers. So, okay, now we go on to character development. This is Thomas's character development. So, in the beginning of the story, Thomas starts off confused and uncertain like everyone else. But through the story, Thomas starts to refine his leadership role by his courageous actions of taking risks and the decisions he makes for the sake of his friends. So, here's a quote from the beginning of the story. Thomas had lived in fear and terror the past few weeks, but this was almost too much. To feel only safe to have that snatched away again. Only to have that snatched away again. Shocking even himself, though he quickly set aside that small part of him that wanted to jump back into his bed and bawl his eyes out. So here's a quote from the end of the story. He jumped forward and slammed into the man's knees, tackling him to the floor. The gun clattered onto the ground next to him. Brenda fell to the side, but Teresa was there to catch her, pull her back from the dangerous edge of the door. Thomas put his left forearm against the man's throat and reached for the gun with his other hand. His fingers found it, gripped it, pulled it close to him. He jumped up and away and held the pistol with both hands, pointing it at the stranger sprawled on his back. Here's another image from the movie that I thought described this pretty well. So, yeah. Here are some quotes that I thought to be important. So, here's one of the quotes. Ratman had said not to trust their eyes or their minds. This quote is important because it shows that Wicked can't be trusted with its illusions of technology and stuff like that. Wicked is good. Finally, oh wait, no. But you have to trust me. No matter what happens, no matter what you see, no matter what you hear, no matter what you think, you have to trust me. This next quote is important because it shows how you need to trust your friends over Wicked. I should probably provide more context with that. So basically, Teresa, one of the Gladers, told Thomas this, and it's because she was forced by Wicked to do something. So she tried to say this to Thomas, so Thomas wouldn't think that she was like a bad person. She didn't mean to do what she did. Okay. And Wicked is good. Finally, the last quote is important because it shows a mysterious idea that was portrayed in Series 1 that still isn't uncovered as to why it's said throughout the book. I've seen it through Series 1 and Series 2, aka the Scorch Trials, but it's never revealed. This was said at the very ending of the book this time, but it's not revealed. Here's another picture from the movie that shows the technology they have here. And yeah. So my rating and review. This book was really fun to read because it was easy to understand everything after reading the previous book. There was a lot of words in this book that just made more sense after reading this. The ending leaves me super tempted to read the next books in the series because of how mysterious it leaves off. It's very interesting how it perceives the future. Overall, I would give this book a 5-star rating. As you can see, here's my 5 stars right there. And yeah, pretty good. Okay, so the book versus movie comparison. After school, I decided to watch the movie, and I found out that the movie had a lot of different details than the book, but I want to list the 3 major differences I noticed. One thing I noticed in the beginning of the book, there was only Thomas and his group of friends, but in the movie, it showed that there were multiple other groups with Thomas and his friends. There was a bunch of other glitter groups that were in this cafeteria here. As you can see, they're in the background, right there. You can see there's more people. That's only one example I could find from online. But another major difference I found is that the Glades were taken for another experiment by Wicked, but in the movie, it shows how they actually escaped from Wicked and ran off through the Scorch. So they actually ran off in the movie, but they didn't, in the book. They were, sent off to another trial, but that never happened. The final major difference I found was that in the book, Thomas and his friends were taken by a helicopter of Wicked, but in the movie, Minho was taken by Wicked while the others were able to escape. So in the end, one of the Gladers, which is Minho, got taken by the helicopter I showed earlier. By a machine like this. It took him up at the very ending of the movie. And in the book, that did not happen. Nothing like that happened. They all escaped. So, yeah, that's my whole thing here. That's where I end off now. So, yeah, thanks for spending your time to go through this. But yeah, here's my whole project. So, hope you liked it, and bye. So, there was one thing I forgot to add. So, in the book versus movie comparison, I forgot about this part. One similar thing I noticed is in both the book and movie is that Minho got hit by lightning. So here's an actual image from the movie here. You can see the Gladers here running away from lightning. They both got hit by lightning in the book and movie. So another similar thing that happened in the book and the movie is that in the beginning of the story, the Gladers were taken to a safe bunker to rest. So yes, this happened in basically the beginning of the movie and the beginning of the book. They were sent to a bunker. I mean, there were different things that took place in the bunkers, but it's a similar setting going up. So yeah, there's all my information. So there's my official ending. So yeah, hope you liked it. So bye bye.